Hi, this is Ken Prather giving a urgent update of why every investor needs some exposure to precious metals in their portfolio here, the last day of April 2019. So we're in a very special moment in time where people have a chance to do something not only for the people in their family now, but for future generations. And this quote covers a lot. We would all do anything to protect our family. We would sacrifice anything to take care of our kids. In the current financial situation, investors recognize there's a problem, but there's so much misinformation they're unsure what to do. So they do nothing. Right now in 2019, inaction is so dangerous. Investors hold their wealth in the most exposed bubble asset areas. There are easy action steps investors can take now quickly to do what's most important to them, take care of their family. And so that's the first message. That we are entering a period of wealth destruction, and I'll explain what that means in a second. But a few quick moves that you can make for your family to sidestep some of that can make huge dividends for the future. And so what I mean by that is that most of us hold our assets in bubble assets, both the stock market, the bond market, real estate, investment and sort of historical bubble experts like Harry Dent all identify those areas as bubbles right now. And it's no surprise given the vast financial experiment that the Fed's taken us on by drilling down bond yields, making bond prices bid up and less attractive. They've pushed a ton of money into riskier areas like stocks and real estate. So if you look at the chart of a bond market or the stock market or the real estate market, they all look the same. They're parabolic and they track very similar to what historical bubbles look like. And without fail, without a doubt, at some point, every bubble pops, just like the Bitcoin bubble. Every bubble pops quickly and massively. The other major danger that people face is just simply holding these accounts, this money in bank accounts, keeping it in cash, thinking, hey, okay, I'm safe here in the bank. It's insured. It's just in cash. No problem. At least it's away from the stock market and real estate. That takes care of one problem and puts you into the boiling pot of another. And the shock that bank account holders are going to have in the future is what happened to bank account holders in Greece and Cyprus. So bank account holders face 20% or more potential losses in the next banking crisis. When the next bank blows up, when they have to shore up the bank, the G20 in 2014 wrote it into legislation that the new plan will be a bail-in. And the bail-in is really an insidious term to bank account holders, where the bank account holders will be a part of that stabilization of the bank, where bank account holders will have to sacrifice some of their account balances in order to bring the bank's financials back to par. So what happened in Greece and Cyprus is real life, and that is the boilerplate for future crises anywhere around the world. And so what happened to Greek and Cyprus bank account holders is, one, there was a time when they were locked out from their money. And two, once they were able to then access those funds, well, they had a big surprise. Let's say they had $100,000 in one of those accounts. When they received access back to their own funds, that $100,000 may only be $80,000. It may have only been $70,000. And the bank's only response is, sorry, sir, everyone had to pitch in during the crisis. So if you can imagine that happening to you here in America, it's hard to imagine. And it's certainly not something that's on many people's radar screens, but it's something that's real, and it's a very real threat to people. Gold provides a solution for that. Gold is one of the best hedges to the U.S. dollar. Generally, the direction of the U.S. dollar, if the dollar goes up, gold goes down, and vice versa. So if there is a mass devaluation in the dollar for all these different reasons, whether it's a financial crisis, whether it's the massive amount of debt we have, whether it's a bail-in, gold has a very real chance of increasing value dramatically and allowing you to hold some of the value in your accounts. Because what we're entering into is a period of wealth destruction where no matter how much money you have now, how secure you may feel, you'd say you have millions and tens of millions of dollars, you have a few $100,000, or you have a 500 to a million, whatever amount you have, if the dollar devalues massively, if there's a major decline in stocks and real estate, investors are going to take generational hits in their accounts. And again, gold, silver, other precious metals, they provide one of the best hedges to those bubbles popping. The other thing that's happening now that's very real is really a wealth transfer, away, where gold is shifting away from Europe, shifting away from the West, away from America to the East. Shrewd foreign governments like Russia and China are increasing their gold reserves dramatically. They know that when there is a crisis, whoever has the gold makes the decisions. So when there is a crisis, the major powers will get around a table and the lesser powers will be sent to the kiddie table. And the people that are invited to the adult table to make decisions on how the next crisis will be solved are the countries with the gold. And so it's yet another example of, what do foreign governments do? If they think gold's so important, we should too. And again, whoever has the gold gets to make the decisions. What are elite investors doing? Two people that we get access to that are fantastic resources that everyone should be listening to is Robert Kiyosaki and Jim Rickards. Here's a YouTube podcast for you to listen to. This is well worth your family's time. This will be the best hour spent for your family's future to listen to what they have to say and what to do and why gold's so important. So lastly, just to put a fine point on it, gold is the ultimate hedge for this crisis environment. It is real wealth. Gold and silver, they are one of the only assets over time, over history, over decades and centuries and ages where they actually hold their value. Every sort of country's currency, whether it's the Roman Empire, whether it's the United Kingdom, whether it'll be America, at some point their currency goes away. Their currency fails and devalues significantly. And the U.S. government has done so much to abuse our currency, it's just a matter of time. And we've only gotten some of the factors that are facing the U.S. dollar. There's many more that make it something that is going to happen in the near future, probably. So with gold, just to talk about some of the major risks involved, is just like the stock market, just like the bond market, major powers, major investors manipulate the price of gold. And so what gold experts say now is that since China is still building up its reserves, prices have been kept down, allowing them to sort of build up their reserves. When they sort of get their fill, watch out. Prices could go up dramatically. So with gold, since there's so many factors, but there's also manipulation, there's also people going in intentionally and manipulating that price, you're going to have volatility with gold. What's fascinating is when you study history and you study the Great Depression, it's really scary, is that the U.S. government confiscated all private investor gold in the 1930s. They made it illegal for individual investors to hold gold. They forced investors to sell it to them back in the 1930s, then immediately repriced it at a higher level once they had taken everyone's gold. And Robert Kiyosaki will tell you a story of him being a helicopter pilot in Vietnam, and his first access to gold was him, quote unquote, smuggling gold in from Vietnam back to America when he was coming back, because it was illegal still then for U.S. investors to hold gold. Theft is a major risk. We'll talk about storage in a minute. And fraud. Gold is not something that you buy from eBay. You want to get it from primary sources, either from a U.S. Mint or a NYMEX approved refiner, and that's where we deal with the government mints and NYMEX approved refiners. So storage options. This is the piece that prevented me from providing this gold service in the past. Only in the last 2 years have I had a solution, a good storage solution, because the question was, okay, I know how important it is for my clients to have gold, but where the heck do we put it? To me, holding it at their house or burying it somewhere is not a reasonable alternative. So for some people, that is what they want. They want to have it close to them, and so they may bury it somewhere. They may hide it somewhere that they feel they'll have access to, they feel will be safe. So that's option number one. Number two is to hold it in a safe deposit box at the bank. And the third option that we're using as our default, and what we provide as a solution, is to provide a third-party storage facility, but not only a third-party storage facility, a non-bank storage facility, something that is off the banking grid when there is that crisis, when they do shut down the system, people won't have access to their accounts, they won't have access to their safe deposit boxes. Here with a non-bank storage facility, at least they have a better shot of still having access to their money. So the way it works with us is our clients, we purchase gold for them. We don't hold the gold. It's all done through a gold dealer who then delivers that gold to the third-party non-bank storage facility. We have storage facility on the East Coast, and we have storage facilities in Canada. And we're always looking for more storage options so that clients have lots of options to sort of diversify their holdings, where they're holding these things, and they're sort of squirreling their precious metals around and not just kept in one spot. Here's how it works. So let's say someone's interested in buying precious metals. We purchase for them, unless they have other preferences, we purchase for them a portfolio of precious metals. So that's gold, silver, palladium, and platinum. And we do that so that if there's a price, just for diversification. So if they're, say gold's not performing well maybe silver, one of the other metals is, and they certainly don't all run together, and they can have different price profiles. And so again, you get sort of that diversified, risk-adjusted portfolio, having 4 metals instead of 1. The client wires money to the dealer. The dealer then places the transaction and delivers those assets to the storage facility. The storage facility then provides confirmation to the dealer, and the dealer provides confirmation to the account holder that those assets have been purchased and the quantity. So here's an example of what someone can do of a sort of a completed plan, getting gold in your portfolio. So because people are so vulnerable right now to bubble assets, most people have their assets in the real estate and stock and bond buckets. So for someone who's looking to really protect themselves from these bubble assets, they can make a shift. They may not be able to sell their home, but at least they can sell stocks and bonds and move things into cash and have about 15% in precious metals. So as this example, with a $2 million portfolio, $300,000 would be in the precious metals portfolio, or 15% of the account, and they wouldn't have stocks, they wouldn't have bonds, or they had less of them, and they would at least have that hedge. It's a very important thing. It's really something that can happen in a matter of days. And again, you can provide a multi-generational dividend to your family. You can help them bypass so much potential, almost certain trouble that's ahead, just by making this simple move for just a portion of your assets into precious metals. It's never been more important to consider this and look at this and not just let this go for another year. Because when the time comes, we're not going to be able to get